Bungie's not exactly immune to controversy, especially when it comes to their current title, Destiny 2, and what's going on with the community there and what they're currently experiencing. And that's rather unfortunate because I quite enjoyed Destiny 2 up until what has gone on current, but I'm not going to talk more about Destiny 2 in this video. One thing I'm going to mention is that I'm not going to cover the campaign for Halo Reach as it has been done to death by literally everybody on the market. I'm going to put a list of names on the screen here now for just about everybody that I have found that has done it. If your name is not mentioned, I do apologize. I probably haven't dug far enough down into the YouTube search list to realistically find everybody. But I know a lot of people have covered the title. Yeah, I'm going to cover multiplayer primarily. We're going to talk about probably one of Bungie's most polarizing Halo titles to date, that being Halo Reach. What made this title so polarizing? What was it about the game that was just so different? What changed? And why is this game either so beloved or so hated, and there's nothing in between? So let's just talk about one of the main reasons I believe that the game is honestly as polarizing as it is today. And I want to cover the simplicity of the sandbox, or the lack thereof of simplicity. It's not the exact same as the original Core 3 Halo titles leading up to this game's development. There's no more fair starts. This is the first title to introduce the fact that everybody can pick one ability out of a handful of abilities. Everybody, other than that, has access to the same guns and everything else, but what changed is the access to abilities and the ability spam that came from it. In the game, you had new abilities, and honestly, one of the worst ones being armor lock. Anybody that's played Halo Reach back in the day understands the plight and plague that is armor lock. The fact that armor lock could instantly shut down a firefight and halt progress of said firefight to where you could have been winning, now you're not. And it wasn't just armor lock that was an absolute plague. You had abilities like active camouflage, which was honestly fucking neutered from previous titles to where it was actually a pickup. Now you have the ability to go invisible, but at the cost of a screwed up radar. Or what the game called the feature a radar jammer, which, adds a bunch of false dots and player motion trackers on the radar around where you are. So all anybody had to do to find you was find the fucking radar spam, and there you go. You found the invis. You also had evade, which, oh my god, evade. Basically, you didn't like getting shot, duck into cover really quick. Hologram. You like shooting the wrong guy? Here's a hologram. The one that you're shooting ain't the guy you're shooting. You had jetpack, which honestly is another ability that really split the community. A lot of people was like, well, with jetpack, it allows you to get to more areas and allows you to access more spots a lot easier. And hell, I use jetpack a lot. And then there's the other side of the coin where it completely invalidates skill jumps. It completely invalidates skilled movement. And it completely invalidated power positions. Yeah, it did, to an extent. And then you had sprint. Oh, the dreaded sprint. This was the first game to add it, and 343 was not the first one to use it. No, Bungie added it from the start. You also had another problem with bloom. Now, for those of you that are uninitiated with what bloom is, it's when the reticle, blows out from the center, which also screws up your accuracy. And considering Halo for a very long time has had a precision meta, going against the grain on that was honestly one of the world's worst fucking sins. Especially because a lot of players really didn't like the bloom. It was so bad, in fact, that after Bungie had finally left to start on their new project of Destiny 1, when 343 took over the keys for all that is Halo, they went ahead and released a title update which fixed the bloom. which made the bloom way less, and while it's still there, it was nowhere near as noticeable, and it was nowhere near as overbearing. Problem with bloom is at longer distances, you realistically couldn't hit those shots that you thought you could before, because you had to pace your shots and your opponent would get away, largely in thanks to abilities like sprint and evade. Or if you're really unlucky and you wind up getting duped by a fucking hologram, that too. If you made it this far into the video, you obviously like the content you see. Please consider leaving a like down below, and please subscribe so that I can continue to make more videos like this for you guys, as you guys are the main reason I keep making content like this at all. Now back to the video. Honestly, the last negative thing that I think I want to cover about this particular title is the fact that for as much that Halo Reach actually added into the sandbox, it took away equally as much, if not more. There was a lot that was taken away, especially in terms of stuff like dual wielding. They took away the BR and replaced it with the DMR, which again was another polarizing thing, but honestly was probably for the better of the game. And honestly, once title update came through thanks to 343, the game stabilized and the game became an overall well-balanced title, while more leaning towards the casual audience. Well, at least in terms of design, yeah, it was leaning more towards the casual. It wasn't all that hard to do well, as you always had a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now, let's talk about what I think the game actually did well. You still had a lot of the core game types. You know, you had your big team battle, you had your capture the flag, you had your big team heavies, you had your 4v4, you had 2 remakes and maps, and on top of that, you had a lot of the core game that was supposed to be there in terms of game type. You know, you had your precision starts, you had your auto starts. And considering the game has more of a casual lean, it allows you to get into games a little bit more easier and allows you to pick up the game a lot easier. And especially with the abilities that you actually have at your disposal, you always had a get out of jail free card, and you always had the ability to escape an engagement that was just not good. You always had the ability to leave a bad engagement if you needed to. And on top of that, with game types like your basic 4v4, you had access to stuff like Slayer, Capture the Flag, Oddball, you know, your basic core. And then with your big team battle maps, you always had your Capture the Flag, you had all the games that you wanted in your big team battle at your disposal, and all the game modes that you wanted at your disposal, period. And on top of that, you also had Forge, and it was honestly the best Forge that Halo has ever produced. And props to you, Bungie. I understand this was your going away present, and this was your present and gift to the Halo community that you found so loved and deared. You did an absolutely fantastic job, and I appreciate all the work that you've put in it. And one other thing I want to mention about Reach, it was one hell of a time to be in the machinima business. Now, for those of you who are unaware of what a machinima is, it is a video or story or video game telling. It involved filming video game characters within the video game and either telling a story or just something hilarious like how to tell if you're a noob in Halo Reach. Anybody that remembers that, you're old, I love you. The big thing that also came with that is the simple fact that you had series that were popping off at that time, especially Red vs. Blue being the biggest one. And you also have another series that's working right now, done by the great Isaiah, who he's basically turned the entirety of Halo the Master Chief Collection into one big zombie game. And a lot of the core of the game is revolving around Halo Reach. I've seen his first 2 seasons. He's done a fantastic job, and I hope he can produce more content like that. Now, in short, with Halo Reach, you either loved it or you hated it. And everybody had a valid reason to feel that way, especially because of everything that I've stated before, especially with how the sandbox is, with what you had available to you, what was taken away, how the game changed, because it wasn't an evolution, it was a full 180. But at the same time, also changing for how I feel to be the betterment of the game franchise moving forward. It was experimental, and because it was experimental, is why I love it so gosh darn much. This day and age, there's not a whole lot of games that I feel are really worth your time to pick up and play. Halo Reach, on the other hand, I feel everybody should pick up and play, or at least try once. It's available on the market for $10 through the Master Chief Collection if this is the only title you want to play. Now, if you want to buy the whole collection, it's currently going for $40 on Steam, and I believe $39 through Xbox. So about $40 no matter where you look. It's fairly cheap, fairly easy to grab. Now, thank you guys so very much for watching. You guys are incredible. Please like and subscribe down below. Please leave a comment as to what you want to see next. You guys are amazing. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day.